Okay, real quick. Here's the beauty of that piece. That guy, Scott Hanson, the NFL Network today sent him to the airport in Hattiesburg, Mississippi to tweet when Brett Favre was seen and got on the plane. How'd you like to draw that plum assignment? I have an idea, Scott. How about if you go to the airport and when he gets on, Twitter. And then when he's flying, Twitter us again. And then go take a nap at the Residence Inn. That happened today. Everybody's been talking about him. Nobody's talked to him until right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Brett Favre. First chair, right there. New chair. Love. I don't know you that well, but I know part of you right now is saying, where were you people at the end of last year with the Jets? That was a hell of a reception.
It was. The piece I was watching back there was kind of painful.
Was it?
It was hard to watch.
Is it hard to ride that roller coaster?
It is. I know, and I know people are tired of it, really. And as we talked prior to the show, my intentions are not to, although it's good for you, create controversy.
We appreciate that.
Last 3 months you're going, stir it.
Right.
It is what it is, you know, and it is tough. I haven't watched anything. Some of those things that you had in the piece, I haven't seen. I did see satellite trucks outside our gate. I was sneaking out a back gate, which they didn't know.
So where are you going if he has a back gate? And you need 2 crews to cover Brett Favre's house.
You know, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. It really is. But I try not to pay attention to it.
But to be totally truthful, you and I talked, and we're not old friends, and we're not. I know you through football and through covering the NFL and being in Green Bay. But when I got this show and I found out that the topic was celebrity in sports, it was in my mind that you'd be a great first guest because you can talk about life in Green Bay, you can talk about life in New York, you can talk about what it's like being in the fishbowl, and you
This was in February.
This is in February. Now all this stuff with the Vikings comes up, and you know, we can't ignore the elephant in the middle of the room. So here we go.
We can't?
No, we can't. It's right over there. See the elephant?
I haven't seen him.
No, he's right there. And his first question is, Brett, do you plan on playing in the NFL next year?
Maybe.
Okay. Don't applaud that. Do not encourage that behavior. Do not encourage that behavior. Okay, maybe.
I am considering.
Okay. We've read so much about the Minnesota Vikings. I'll ask you this: have you had a procedure done on your shoulder with that torn biceps?
About 2.5 weeks ago, I had surgery. Dr. Andrews did the surgery, and he said more or less 4 or 5 weeks you should know if it was completely successful. I can throw, and I could throw before the surgery, but I couldn't throw, and that's what happened to me late in the year. I would throw it there, and it would go there, and certain throws hurt. I'd have pain in my neck and down my arm. And it just, you know, when I left after the final game last year with the Jets, I said, I'm not going. I knew I needed surgery, and I didn't want to have it. And I ended up having it. Just, I mean, if it feels better, I'm rehabbing, doing what I need to do to get it back in shape. Have talked with the Vikings, nothing other than, are you interested, vice versa. I've had the procedure, which they know. And it's more or less how my arm feels, and we'll go from there.
So much has been written about, at least lately, and I know you don't pay attention to it, but ESPN has led with it. It's on the NFL Network. The members of the Vikings coaching staff are headed your way, either have or are about to work you out to gauge your arm strength or to see what kind of shape.
Not true. I met with their trainer yesterday, and all it was about was to go through some exercises that could help with the rehab. That was it. Some different stretching and band work. And
is Minnesota the only team on your radar?
That's all I've talked to. Yeah, and it makes perfect sense. as far as coming back, because it's an offense that I ran for 16 years. And we talked about it prior to the show. I could teach the offense, and so it was tough going to New York last year because I was 2 weeks late. It was a totally new offense for me, and I thought this won't be too bad, but and Brian Schottenheimer and Mangini and those guys were great with me because we condensed it down to where it was at least call the plays. But it was like learning a foreign language.
So you're in a position where if you go to Minnesota, if that works out on both sides, you're going to have something that you really haven't had in your career. You're going to have a running back that's a superstar. And I know Ahman Green had a couple of really good years there for you in Green Bay. But you have to look at that situation in Minnesota and think, okay, quarterback position, they've been shaky there. They've got the running back. They've got a line. They've got a defense. There's a lot there for you to really like.
Well, once again, it's like the terminology with offense. It makes a lot of sense because the pieces are in place. And they do have a great running back. They have a great running game. And if I go there, I mean, there's no guarantees. We all know that. I mean, I went through that last year with New York. I'd like to think that, I think every player should think that he is a difference maker. I think you have to believe that. But I think in that situation, understanding what is expected of you, knowing your team, knowing that as long as we can run the ball and complete passes when needed, we should be pretty good.
Is it impossible to put in a sentence or two what has to happen between now and whenever day that needs to happen for you to sign with the Minnesota Vikings?
I think first and foremost, I don't think you can go past anything more than the arm. If that's not up to par, and is not up to par when the time comes, then I can't play. I went through it last year, and I got it out. But I don't want to do that again. I won't do it again. So that was why I went ahead and had the surgery. I didn't want to wait for this tendon to pop or whatever and be mid-season. Then it's too late. So I had the procedure done, and as I rehab and continue to throw in things, if it ever gets to the point where it feels like it did before it started hurting, then that, the biggest question mark is out of the way.
There were reports last week that the Minnesota Vikings and Brad Childress, their head coach, had put a deadline on you making a decision because of off-season training activities. We're still a ways away from camp. Was that true? Was there a deadline for you?
No. And it's not like I talked to those guys every day. They knew I had surgery. Coach Childress had asked if I would come to OTAs, not that I would have to participate, and I totally understood that side of it. I chose not to, and you can pick sides on this, and I think both sides are right. He wanted me to be there to be a part of the team and things like that, knowing that there's no guarantee my arm will be like it was before, and I chose to stay away just because I figured there would be a media frenzy if I was there, and there would be a media frenzy if I couldn't play. If we had to say 3 weeks later, his arm's just not up to par, he can't play, so we have to. And I said, so why not just have one media frenzy, and that be later on. So it wasn't anything to do with practicing or anything like that. It's either all or nothing to me.
You said at the beginning of the segment